Hey guys, so I'm in my kitchen and yesterday I showed you all the peaches that I was able to harvest from the peach farm. And so today I figured I'm gonna go ahead and show you my maple glazed bacon covered peaches that are cooking right now. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm doing. So here they are. All I did was I quartered the peaches. These were not stone free, so that was not the easiest task, but I was able to get a couple of wedges that looked really nice out of them. So I have those wrapped with some bacon, and the bacon that I like to use is this no antibiotics and growth hormones. It's like, in my opinion, it's probably the best bacon out there. It's not super cheap, but it's also better for you than some of the other ones, like chocked full of salt and all that. And it tastes really good. So I wrapped them with the bacon. I basically had to cut the bacon in half. You can see that they're really long, and one of those peaches were so tiny that when you got a wedge out of that tiny little peach, you end up with a very small slice. And so basically I just used a half of it, which is fine. I do the same exact thing for dates. So when I'm making my bacon wrapped dates, I do the exact same thing. And I already have a pre-made maple bourbon glaze that I use for my dates on Thanksgiving, and I just freeze what's left over of it, and I'm just gonna pour that over my peaches. Otherwise, what you wanna do is once your bacon is all nice and cooked down and like it's rendered all the grease from it, you wanna go ahead and strain out the grease, obviously. But you want to remove your dates or your peaches from the pan. And then after you do that, you go ahead and grab some maple syrup of your choice. This is the one I use. I use the Trader Joe's organic, or I'll use any other one that I think looks really good or is organic as well. And then I take some bourbon, which that's your choice too. And I basically just combine them. I probably add, if I had to measure, I would say maybe about 1/4 cup of the maple syrup, and then maybe, I don't know, we'll say 4 tablespoons of bourbon, maybe 3. It really depends. I don't ever measure. I'm kind of an about type cook, so about this much. But yeah, so what you end up with is a beautiful dark brown glaze. I forgot to mention one thing. What you want to do is when you're rolling your bacon around your peaches or your dates, you want to cook them with the open seam. So if like you're rolling, like this is the seam of the bacon, you want to put that side down on the pan. That way, whenever you go to flip them, they don't fall apart. I'm going to show you guys where you want to be with your bacon before you flip it, because you are going to have to flip these and cook the bacon on all sides. They're not going to cook just by having them on one side. So you have to come in with your fork and you have to check it. So I'm gonna check this one, and you don't wanna flip them if it's still sticking. So if somehow you come in here and your bacon is stuck, that means it's not quite done. But if like this one, I'm turning it, you can see that the bacon is cooked it's starting to cook really well right here. So this needs like maybe a couple more seconds. And then I'm gonna go ahead and flip all these and show you what they look like. Okay, so all my peaches are now flipped over, and you can see that doing it that way, where you've got the actual seam on that side, makes it to where the bacon actually sticks together and then they don't fall apart. Unless you're this guy, and which I just didn't cook him long enough. But I'm gonna go ahead and I just wanted to show you that, but I'm gonna go ahead and flip him back and get cooked down a little bit more. And so you just kind of want to, but they're stubborn like that, just hold them down for a second and then they'll stay. I wanted to also show you what your bacon should look like. So it's kind of caramelized, it's looking really nice. It's not, like you're gonna see some light colored on the sides and edges. This is a process that requires your attention. You start to hear that sizzle, you want to be here the entire time, because you want to flip it on all 4 sides. Because you've got meat on this, you want all the meat to be cooked well. So we're looking really good right now, flip them. And this burner in particular gets really hot. So then I would probably cook them like a little over medium, maybe 5 or 6. So either that or straight on medium. You'd have to kind of gauge your own stove. I wanted to show you what my glaze looks like. Now this is, when I say pre-made, I mean I made it. Like, this is not store-bought, so, because it's so easy to make. But this is what it looks like. It's been in the freezer. It never truly freezes because it has alcohol in it. But I keep it in the freezer, and then when I need it, I use it up, and then I make a new one when I need it. But yeah, all this is just bourbon and maple syrup. That's it. But that's kind of the color. It's what it should look like, and it tastes really, really good. So let's go ahead and flip these. So what I have found that really helps when you're trying to cook the sides of something that's a little irregular shaped, I lean them on themselves. So you can see they're all leaned on each other. That just really helps them stay on the side. And I mean, this is pretty much done, but I'm gonna take it a little step further because I see some white on the bacon, and I like everything to look caramelized and crispier than that. Okay, so I just put in my bourbon glaze. I'm gonna remove it. This does not need to cook anymore. I just wanted to heat up the glaze. But this is the rendered fat that came from that, the grease. Here are the bacon covered peaches, and you can see that they're not coming undone. And so all you're gonna do at this point is just stick them back in there. Okay, so they're all in there. Then you're just gonna kind of toss them in the glaze. You can do it however you want. You can do it that way, or you can come in here with, probably not a fork, something that will be more gentle. And you can kind of stir them into the glaze, like turn them over, coat every side, you know, that kind of thing. And then the easiest way to serve this is just on a little plate and reserve some of the maple syrup and bourbon mixture, the glaze, and just pour it on top of them. And so I am going to take out my dates first, and then I'm going to pour over the remainder of the glaze. And just kind of coat them all up with this. Maple glazed bacon wrapped peaches are done. They're too hot to eat right now, but these are amazing. So I'm gonna let them cool down for just a second, and then I am definitely trying one of these. Okay, I'm going to sneak another bite. I went ahead and tried one, and they're so good. Wow. They are exactly like I remember them. The only time I ever made this was one time. I was in South Carolina and just had gotten some beautiful peaches. They were much bigger than those. But it is one of the best appetizers besides the bacon wrapped dates that I think I've ever had. The saltiness from the bacon that isn't super salty really complements the peach. The maple syrup, the bourbon, all of that really complements the peach. You ever had a peach cobbler and you're sitting there eating it, you probably don't realize they're putting fall spices in a peach cobbler, like cinnamon and nutmeg and all those things that makes you kind of think of the fall. And you're like, oh, it's so good, and it has like this delicious kind of warming taste to it. And that's what these do. They are absolutely delicious. They are definitely worth the time and prep. And all you're really doing is cooking the bacon around them, you know, and then the peaches are warmed, and oh my gosh, there's just something so good about it. If you haven't tried this yet, I strongly, highly recommend that you do. It is so worth it.